What's up, guys?
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, brothers. Welcome back to another episode of Whiskey and Water.
Whiskey and water.
Whiskey and water.
Today,
we were going to go for it. Go ahead.
I wasn't going to make anyone suffer any longer. Today, we have an incredible episode for you guys with a wonderful woman named Arianne Traverso.
Oh, good job. You remembered it.
Tell us what she does.
She is a holistic lifestyle and business coach, and she runs her own holistic business coaching company, and she's the owner of the largest yoga conference in Florida.
Yes, and on top of that, just a little bit of background on her. She was like the first acro yoga certified teacher in Southeast United States.
Yeah, she's pretty much one of the OGs in the yoga community in Miami. So, I mean, that's a pretty big deal because yoga is huge down here, especially acro yoga. I mean, there's a place called South Point Park, and every Sunday, and even other days in the week, a whole bunch of people come out. There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Over 50.
Oh,
close
for sure.
to 100.
Probably close to 100.
Every week come out and do acro yoga. So for her to be one of the pioneers in that community down here, it's huge.
Yeah, but before we get into all of that wellness and goodies,
Good stuff.
let's do a little catch-up time.
So,
how was your new year, brother?
We're in the second week of 2020. Things are looking up. Things are moving along in the duplex. We kind of just got a few loose ends to tie up. We're finishing up the bathroom. We got to get the countertops for the kitchen, and
It looks so good, though.
we're going to be in there before we know it. God, I knew it was going to be a lot. I didn't think it was going to be this much.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And
you guys are out here painting ceilings and shit.
Oh, I mean, that's the least of what we're doing. I have paint all over my hair, all over my hands. That's the
Crusty,
easy
rusty,
shit.
dusty.
It's a lot, and I'm just so thankful for Tyler's family being so hands-on. I mean, we couldn't do it without them, and I would be so overwhelmed if we didn't have their help every weekend and
they're
every week.
crucial.
Oh my God.
I can't even imagine.
We could, but it would take a lot longer, and I would have a lot more mental breakdowns.
Yeah. We're only having a couple thus far.
Yeah, and we're on a good ratio of mental breakdowns to not mental breakdowns. But how was your New Year's Eve?
I had a good New Year's. It was uneventful. I mean, I went to the Mondrian, which is a hotel in South Beach, and it's on the water, so it was nice. I got to see the fireworks and shit, but at the same time, I probably would have been just as happy staying in. Mm-hmm. Not that I had anyone to spend it with. But
Did you take any pics? I just realized I didn't see any. Oh, you didn't get a pic?
I don't have the energy for that anymore.
Did you wear that outfit?
Which outfit?
The one that you were like, oh my God, I have an outfit, I have to go out?
No, because
I'm waiting to see this outfit. I'm like, where the fuck is this bitch at?
it was fire. But listen,
What happened?
So I put on the dress. It's a little bit of a tight fit, but it's almost like a spandex-y, lycra type of feel. And it had a seam up one of the legs. And I had put it on, and it was cute. And I was definitely gonna wear it. And then I sat down, and I was laying in bed, and then I accidentally moved from one of my legs the wrong way,
And that shit split.
And the seam.
The seam.
I think I was trying to put split
and split and seam all
so many
together.
words. Can't do words. But yeah, it split up my leg.
Oh, wow.
Not that bad, but the fabric was loose now, so it would have been dangerous to go out with it, and it was already a tight fit.
I
so
did
it's
a little people might have gotten a little sneak peek right there.
Oh yeah, if I had walked a certain way, you probably could have seen my underwear. So I was like, that's not gonna do it.
Oh, that's a bummer. Did you get to wear at least the heels, the thigh high silver booties?
No, didn't wear
Man,
those
that was
either.
your one chance. Now you have to wait till next New Year's Eve to wear those.
I'm getting rid of those.
Oh God,
Hey guys,
okay.
check out our Poshmarks.
She's got some bomb thigh high glitter boots on sale. Hit her up.
No, but deadass, check out our Poshmarks.
Yeah,
Let's plug that right now. What? We have
a whole ass wall in Jess's apartment dedicated to Poshmark that we still have not done anything with.
It takes up my entire wall. It's really fucking with my feng shui, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
If anyone wants to be our assistant and help us with that and do Poshmark stuff, we'll take any takers.
Send us your resumes. Holla at whiskeyandwaterpodcast.com.
Yes. And if you're listening to this episode, please, I'm going to remind you guys every episode because we just need your love and your support. God. Are we asking for too much?
Just fucking share in your stories. God let us know you like us.
Please. No, but really, take a screenshot, post it on your story, tag us. We repost everything, and we love seeing you guys who are listening.
Yeah. Wait, tell me how your New Year's was.
My New Year's was okay. I had a family emergency and ended up having to book a last minute flight to New York. Unfortunately, my grandma passed, but she
Rest
was
in peace.
She was 94, and I keep reminding myself, what more can you ask for? That's
Absolutely.
a long, happy, healthy life, And I think the biggest part about death and why it's so hard for people to get over it is because a lot of times there's like years lost and you feel like years were stolen from someone, but she passed at 94.
She lived a full life.
We don't live forever. That's the reality of this human existence.
And I feel like that book I gave you, Many Lives, Many Masters, you said that you're on chapter 3, but
I'm on chapter 3, yeah.
Once you get through it, I feel like you'll have a much better like understanding. And just like you'll be more at peace with it.
Yeah.
Because you'll just come to realize that, energies live on and
And that's how I feel. Yeah. I have her bracelet and we all have like little pieces of her, and she was surrounded by so much love. So it was the best way it could have happened, and it made me really thankful to watch, all my family there coming out and how much love everyone was giving each other, so there's like beauty in that
Absolutely.
that I took away from it. So, yeah, she's watching over.
Yeah.
Love you, Nan.
When my grandma passed, it's crazy that we're about to come up on 2 years because it just doesn't feel like that. And she was taken a little bit more abruptly. She was,
I remember.
She was like in her 70s and she was in great health. And by great health, I mean like, she was all there. But, my grandma takes like tequila shots, whiskey shots to like go to bed.
Oh my God.
But regardless.
Runs in her blood, people.
Yeah, right? Literally. If you guys knew my family, you'd understand.
Yeah.
But she was taken so much more abruptly, and to see like the entire family, because she was really the matriarch, as I'm sure your grandma was as well. Like huge pillar of just like your family, like everyone comes together because they know,
what's about to go down.
Exactly. Yeah. And even though my grandpa is like, he's still kicking. I think he's like 95, 96.
Holy shit.
Oh, dude, he is older.
Wow.
He's older. And we always thought that he'd be the first to go, but she was, and that's been crazy. Like now we're taking just each holiday and each time we all get together like so much more special because we just know it could really be any day. And anyone could be any day.
Right.
At the end of the day.
It's a reminder for us all. Yeah, for sure. There's this
Cherish
saying,
your loved ones.
Yeah. And there's this saying, we borrow time from death or something along the lines of that. And yeah, it makes you appreciate life and, appreciate the beauty in the little things.
Yeah. So I love that.
Yeah. We'll get into our episode. We won't hold you guys any longer. We're really excited to share this with you. We were like literally taking notes the whole
It's
time.
crazy.
It's so good. It's so good. We really enjoyed this.
I would recommend, I mean, I know a lot of you guys like listen to this like while you're driving or while you're doing other things, but if you have a moment, take a journal out, jot some notes down. I feel like there's definitely some good takeaways here.
Yep.
And
that or share on your stories. I'm like going to plug that every time. I'm going to really run that into the ground. But yeah, share on your story and share what your biggest takeaway was. Was from
it.
Words. Words get me every time. Share what your biggest takeaway was from it, and because that's also something that I'd be curious to know, because I know what ours are, so it would be nice to hear what it was for you guys.
With you guys.
Yeah.
All right, we won't hold you any longer. Enjoy the episode. All right, guys, we are here with Arianne Traverso. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you, girls.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you on.
Yeah, we're really excited because I feel like we have been wanting to know a lot more about what you're going to speak about. So for selfish reasons, we're very excited.
Yes, this is purely personal.
And also for our audience.
Yeah. How are you today? Tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your background.
Thank you. So I've been in the wellness industry both as an practitioner and entrepreneur for 15 plus years.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a little older than you guys, but that's okay.
You don't look a day over 20.
That's right.
Just a number.
And it's been a really fabulous journey because I healed myself from a lot of stuff that I was dealing with, you know, as a teenager and growing up and all this stuff through wellness techniques, through yoga. I've been teaching yoga internationally for 15 plus years, like leading trainings, retreats. I owned a studio here in Miami, and now I do a lot of consulting for other holistic entrepreneurs who are trying to like start their businesses through, you know, whether it's creating their services or just kind of figuring stuff out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's cool to see, because I feel like that you're at like maybe the third phase of what someone would be just starting a yoga practice, and then like, you know, since it's not a business and there's not a glass ceiling, it's like it's kind of up to you to decide how far you're going to take it and what you're going to do with that. Yeah.
And
Fully.
what brought you to wellness and yoga, and kind of what led you to, you know, healing yourself through that practice?
It sounds funny, but I was dating this crazy musician in college.
That's how that all starts.
I was in art school.
Okay.
I'm a graphic designer by like
Trade.
I guess. And so he's like, hey, you should check out this yoga class to like help you. Because I was like, I was in architecture as well. So I was like super stressed out, not sleeping for days, and then getting sick a lot. So he was like, go do some yoga. And I was like, what is yoga?
Yeah.
And then just my first class, I was super hooked. Because
Really?
I had never felt I was always an active person, but not in that way. Like I had played sports and, you know, throughout my life, but it was just so different. And it was super hard because I couldn't touch my toes. And I was like,
That's where Jess is at now.
Listen, I can touch my toes now, but you know,
good.
we're getting there.
but like the struggle was real.
Yeah,
And I
for
was
sure.
sweating, and then I see people going upside down and doing headstands, and I was like, what is this? And then the meditation part was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Really?
Oh my God.
Compared to the physical aspect of it, because yoga's like, I think there's a misconception of people who have never taken a yoga class that it like looks all very flowy and easy and posing, but
oh my God, it's so hard.
Yeah.
Like it is very challenging.
Like everything, you know, it takes practice. Like the first time you ride a bike, you fall off, and then, you know, or as a baby, if you take your first step, you fall. You're not going to be like, why am I going to do this anymore?
Yeah.
It's so hard. And then the more you do it, it just becomes easier. But for me, the meditation, because I've always been very like a thinker, like, you know,
Yeah.
super scholar, all this stuff. And I was like, you want me to do what? Stop this
Thinking?
thing?
Turn it off?
I was like,
Impossible, yeah.
So, and I love challenges. So that challenge that was very self-directed was what also led to, you know, starting to, let me eat a little healthier. Let me be more mindful of how I do things. And so the whole lifestyle came with the challenge.
The practice.
Yeah.
And just that level of consciousness, right?
Exactly.
And it's as much of a, you know, mental challenge as it is physical, which is
Yeah.
what I love about yoga, because not only are you transforming the outside, but you're transforming the outside by transforming the inside, which
Yeah.
I love.
I always say you're working in to work out.
Yeah, it's
I
as
love
much
that.
of an internal workout as it is external. Like, I know for me, I have taken yoga classes throughout the year here and there, never like constantly. And I hear my mind running of like looking at other people, not like being scared to look like I don't know what I'm doing, or being scared to look like I'm a show off because I was a dancer.
She's incredibly
I'm
flexible.
really
You would think that she's been doing yoga her
so
entire
then
life.
I'm like, you know, trying to get a good full stretch in, and then I'm like, oh my God, everyone's gonna think that I'm showing off. Like I can't turn my brain off,
Yeah.
so it's such a
Crazy.
challenge.
I'll be in Shavasana, which is, for our listeners who aren't familiar, it's like when you're laying just completely on your back, usually at the end of the practice. I'll be in Shavasana and I'll have to open my eyes and look around and be like, is everyone in a different pose? And I'm the only one like laying down. But it's like, it's really like a challenge to completely let go and just be.
So hard, especially when you're in a room with people,
Right.
And there's so many other energies in the room, and I feel like it's challenging in that way too, being surrounded by other people and just being in complete silence. Do you have any tips for that?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, honestly, a lot of my students have also started as like private clients. So you might take like a class or two privately with the teacher, so you kind of get all that like you know,
yeah,
the scaredies away, and then you can start going into the group classes, and
That's
then also
smart.
That is really smart.
really looking for a teacher that fits you and a studio that fits you.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's huge. I feel like that's been my issue, and that's why I've been dropping in randomly, because I'll take a class and be like, that just didn't do it for me.
So, and some people like that, like super fast, like power yoga. Some people like very aligned, like slower, mindful, restorative. Like there's so many different types. And, you know, I'm writing a book right now about like the business side. And that's something I say all the time. I'm like, find your audience, you know, and your audience will find you. Like there has to be a perfect match.
Absolutely.
Right.
Because I have students that have been with me for 10 years.
That's incredible.
So once you create that relationship, then the teacher also can guide you in the best way she knows how, because that's what we do. Like we're serving, right? We're serving in a way so that we transform, we help people move into a different either physical place, mental place, or et cetera, et cetera.
So it kind of takes two to tango. Like it really has to be a good fit on both ends.
And I feel like that applies to so many things in life.
Right.
I mean, whether it's therapy or, you know, a teacher for whatever it may be. Like, I know that in college I performed better with different, teachers, simply because the other teachers, way of teaching just didn't resonate with me, and I wasn't able to absorb it. But for someone else, maybe they absolutely love that type of teaching. And
yeah, and I think it also just comes out from trial and error. Like I know myself, and I know that, you know, my time is very valuable. So if I go to a yoga class and spend an hour or two there and I'm not completely satisfied with how it went and I don't feel great and regenerated after it, I'm like, okay, well, you know, because I have a successful practice when I'm by myself, just because I like know how my body moves. I do what feels good. Like I know how to meditate. So I'm like, I could have did that myself and like enjoyed it more. So that's why I'm like hesitant. But I think it is trial and error. And being in Miami is such a good place because there's so many studios. I'd love to get some recommendations from you.
I mean, and I feel like Miami, you know, has a really incredible wellness community.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I've been here doing this thing for 15 years, and wow.
Yeah.
It's like 1,000 times improved.
What it was.
Like,
and, you know, while we were having, you know, our pre-podcast call, I know that you mentioned that you were one of the first teachers and one of the first in South Florida. And so I feel like you probably, you know, were able to pioneer the community a little bit. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I did my training, it was like around 2005. There were teachers, but compared to what there are now, so it was a handful.
Of course.
And I got certified in a really specific modality called acro yoga, which is like partner acrobatics. And
we love acro yoga.
So
We've dabbled.
So I was the first acro yoga teacher in the whole Southeast United States.
Oh my God,
Wow,
I know.
that's insane.
That is so cool.
That's my claim to fame. No.
Oh my God, wait, we have to get, do you still teach that?
No. Especially not
I'm like,
now.
damn it.
7 months pregnant.
Oh, well, yeah, I would, yeah. Ooh, whoops, forgot.
And sometimes I'll teach workshops and things like this. But, so that really, like, helped me.
Yeah.
Like you guys were saying, create community. Like, I was the acro person. So it brought a lot of people together from different studios. And
so cool.
It's incredible.
It was really
and
fun.
now, every Sunday, if you go to the beach, there's
at
literally,
South Point.
like, so many people out there just flipping each other around.
It's
People
so
are, like,
much fun.
going with someone, hey, you want to base me? You want to fly me? It's, every time we go, I'm like,
we need to do this every Sunday.
Why aren't we here every Sunday? It's, like, such a good vibe. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's so fulfilling,
You
honestly.
watch the sunset. Oh, God, we got to start doing
it's-
this.
I know.
2020, man. We got to
2020,
make it
Acro
there
Sundays.
more.
And
It's
I'm like, and
beautiful.
those are my, like, students that are now teachers. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
You just get to see, like, you know, your work ripple through, like, so many, like, communities and affect so many different people. That's incredible.
How would you say that your career kind of organically grew and developed and then eventually turned into a business? Because now you're coaching people into doing this. So was that like a natural thing, or did you sit down and say, okay, I've hit a plateau, I need to do something else?
I think it was definitely an evolution because, and I think the shift or the catalyst was when I realized that I wanted to do it as a business because I was still working in advertising and then doing yoga as a side job.
Okay, gotcha.
But then I was like, I'm stuck in somebody's office. Like, I've always been very independent and I don't like working for other people. So.
Amen, sister.
Heard that.
Yeah.
So, and this was, again, like, 13, 14 years ago, but it was a really nice shift where I was like, hey, I can actually do this full time. And because I was very specific in what I was teaching, yes, I also taught the regular classes, but because acro yoga was such a niche and I was one of 26 people in the world that taught it, I had very high levels of certification. So I was flying all over the world, teaching trainings, and it just really created like I can do this and have a sustainable lifestyle and basically lead, best life ever. And then little by little, because I think of my entrepreneurial nature, I started seeing more opportunities. So I was like, let me do that.
Right.
Oh, you guys, I had the first studio in Wynwood. So it was like, oh, you want to open a studio? Yeah, let's open the studio. And little by little, I just realized how much I like being a leader in the community.
Okay. Nice.
And being able to affect, like you said, that ripple. Because there's only so much that I can do as one individual, but if I start affecting and impacting others and empowering others to live their dream and to create successful classes, like I can help that many more people.
That's beautiful. It's more of a mission. Like you're really setting out and creating ripple effect, like you said. So cool.
And it's bigger than yourself.
Yeah,
which
totally.
I feel like is very important. This wasn't like completely like self-powered, like, oh well, I want to live this lifestyle. It was like, I want to live this lifestyle, but I also want to empower and inspire other people to do the same, which I think is incredible.
And change their lives for the better, So you said you opened the first acro yoga studio in Wynwood?
It was the only studio that had acro, so it was called Trio Yoga, and it was the first studio in Wynwood, and it was awesome because
that's crazy because like I'm thinking about it now, and there's such a big acro community down here, so that's so cool that you were like one of the OGs,
Yeah, that's amazing.
Awesome.
Grandma.
So every episode, we ask our guests to provide a pro tip.
Pro tip. Oh, come on.
I'm sorry.
What?
Pro tip. We have to find something better for it. I'm still not 100% behind it.
17 episodes in. We're like trying to change it now. Come on.
Regardless, we ask every guest to provide us with a pro tip. Our past pro tips have been anything from like a makeup hack to, making your bed in the morning. So what is your pro tip?
Okay. I'm like, making your bed in the morning.
Yeah. It can be simple or it could be big.
I go big. Go big or go home.
Hell yeah, brother.
Love to see it.
And honestly, pro tip for proper lifestyle design is decisions and actions.
Okay.
That's what I'm all about. Because once you think of something, it stays as a thought. So then we decide on what we want to do and then act on it. That goes along for making your bed.
Yeah, right.
Right? Because you could be like, oh, I want to make my bed today.
You could think about it.
But if you don't do it,
right.
then nothing happens. So it's all about taking action on your dreams and doing little ones that eventually turn into big ones.
Yeah, we're huge ambassadors of that as well. I mean, that. And I feel like that's a great pro tip as far as this being, I think, our second episode of 2020. So if you guys are listening to this, decisions and actions, that's how you get to your goals.
Yeah, thinking, making a decision to do it, and then making an action.
And that's how we step into abundance. That's my word for 2020. Oof. And the energy of this year in itself is just very much balanced, aligned, and big. So if we were thinking of things in 2019, and this is what I do as a coach, I help strategize and do all that stuff. So if you were thinking of things, this is the year to act on them and watch them grow.
Bring it to fruition.
Yeah. And then you can use your tool bag, right? You can be like, okay, do I need to meditate in the morning? Or, how am I self-care? What does that look like for me? Right. Am I overwhelmed with stuff? Do I step back? I like to do my essential oil break and take a deep breath and then say, okay, how do I organize my thoughts? How do I organize my time? What does that look like for the bigger vision?
Yeah, I feel like that's huge because I know for us, we get so caught up in just trying to manage our to-do list.
Right.
And we don't carve out the time to actually sit and how to be more effective.
Yeah.
And how to work smarter instead of working harder. So you mentioned you are a mentor and a coach for a lot of people. And going into having this be the second episode, I think it'd be great to have you share, what you share with your clients. I'm like, clients and how you help them kind of set a vision for the year. And you mentioned how you do goal casting. I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah, for sure. And, I have my own coach. And when we have our conversations, he's always like, okay, Ari, like, what does your 10-year look like? I was like, 10 years? I was like thinking like 6 months from now.
Yeah.
And he's like,
I don't know what I'm eating for dinner tomorrow night.
Right. And just having that accountability to the bigger vision. And one thing, we were talking about the other day is he's like, think of yourself 5 years ago. If you would have if you could see yourself where you are now, do you think you would have gotten there faster? I was like, oh, you're so smart, right? So if I can see myself in 10 years, whatever that looks like, it could be like running a multi-million-dollar business and having my baby with, whatever it is. I have my whole vision planned, but
yes, love it. Vision boards.
Like if I can see that 10 years, then I can make a direct line plan.
Beeline for it.
Cut out all the BS. Get directly to it.
Super focused, like have, and you guys talked about a to-do list. Work on a results list. Like, what are the results that I want?
I love that.
Not what do I have to do, because then you get caught up in, like, the minutia.
Right.
Get stuck on the vision, and then plan down. And you guys use Trello, I heard.
Yes.
So
love Trello.
Yeah, project management. So, but if I have, like, the big idea, then I can create that flow chart. I can create... From there.
Right.
And then the to-do list goes into, like, am I going to die if this doesn't happen right now? Literally, that's how I write it. I'm like, am I going to die? No. Okay, so then I don't feel overwhelmed. And this is like same thing with my clients. Like, if you don't send this email right now, nothing's going to happen. You could send it in 3 hours. Like, go lay in the sun for 2 minutes and just chill.
Big proponents of that.
Yeah.
And if you are feeling overwhelmed, like, go outside and, like, I don't know, have a tantrum on the floor because you're going to change your state.
Sing a national anthem.
Sing the national anthem off the balcony. So we did a pro tip, like one of our first episodes. We felt like we needed to go on the balcony and just like spell energy and just like scream and let it out.
We had so much stagnant energy.
And then we realized belting the national anthem like did it for us.
There you go.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to let it out.
And then having a strategy. Like, if you can see the big thing, then you can create not just the to-dos around it, but like, how do I get it done? So it's like the why, the what, the how.
Right.
And once you have this like beautiful roadmap, this like blueprint, again, I was in architecture, so I'm like blueprint, then it really becomes something feasible.
Right.
Your dream isn't like, oh, well, so that mindset piece gets really like brought into present moment and like into the physicality versus just staying as this like
far-fetched idea.
I'm not that person, so like I can't do that. Or you get what's called the imposter syndrome. And it's crazy like how we limit ourselves to stepping into that next phase of what we want.
Right.
And then changing our language around it. Like, do you need that? No, I want that. Right. I get to do things. I don't have to do things.
Facts.
I love that.
No. I just like was taking like 3 mental notes. I'm trying to get to the second one.
I know. I'm like trying to also hold the conversation while taking all these mental notes, and I'm like having all these ideas, and I'm like, yes.
I think it helps. I think a lot of people, what you mentioned about kind of getting, instead of a to-do list, a results list, I think that's huge. It's huge. Huge. Because I think it stops people from doing a lot of busy work.
Yeah.
And I know we have even fallen in the pattern of kind of just being busy to be busy almost.
Facts.
And it's not the most effective way we could be using and leveraging our time.
Right.
So I love the results list instead of the to-do list. And also, did you want to go into something before you forget? Or you're good?
Oh no, I'm good.
It's gone.
So she's just over
an empty
here,
tank
like,
up here.
changing her life as we
I
speak.
know, I love it.
No.
It's so good.
That's why I have nothing to say, because I'm already
She's already typing it into her
into my
her
Trello.
files.
No, and I'll be honest, like when you said that, my immediate thought was I make a Google Google Doc every year of, my resolutions, and I plan it out by like I think 10 different categories. It's like financial, career, relationships, spirituality, physical, all these different things. But when you said that, for some reason, like something sparked in me, and I was like, I'm gonna make a Trello where I can like really put down each of these goals. Maybe I'll make a column for each one, and then in that, I'm gonna write down like that, decision action point of it, because I do have these goals, and I set certain things, like let's say I wanted to do a split by the end of the year, or in 6 months. What am I going to do each day?
Every day.
That way I kind of create, like I'm holding myself accountable by saying these are the day-to-day steps that I can take to get there. And so that's what I've been planning out in my head for the last 5 minutes.
She missed all the last 5 minutes of what you said. She's been thinking about that plan.
Stay present, girl. Into it.
Okay, another thing I wanted to bring up, which I think is awesome and that I think is overlooked by a lot of people, is the value in mentors.
Right.
And coaches.
Huge.
So I guess just speak a little bit about that and your experience, because you mentioned, you are a coach now, but you also mentioned that you still have a coach.
Oh, yeah.
So I think, accountability is huge. Just, I want to hear your thoughts on that.
So the minute that I hired my first coach, it's already probably like 4-ish years ago, I doubled my income.
Wow.
Like in a year.
Wow.
It was awesome. Like awesome. And doubling that income came with a slew of like self-development things that made me a different person. Because if you're the same person, what are you going to be doing different?
You're going to get the same outcome.
You're going to get the same results. So I had to step up into a like new Ari, right? And take on like the things that were scary. So I hired my first coach and bought the Yoga Expo, which is the largest trade show and like yoga conference in South Florida. So I'm the owner, I became the owner of things.
Right.
Instead of being a worker in things.
Yeah.
And that was a big shift.
That's a level up.
It is. It really is. Boss moves only. And how did you find the coach? Or kind of maybe like what inspired you to find him?
It was serendipity.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I've had several. I've joined different masterminds. I've invested in it.
Right.
And I've gotten that investment, tenfold in both, the income that, in the income that I make and the person who I am. So it's like, now my decisions feel different. No, yeah. For me, it's like investment into the next like 50 years of my life.
Yeah.
And what would you maybe say for someone who feels like they're not necessarily like ready for that, or maybe they don't feel like they can afford it? I personally feel like you make the sacrifice, whether it's like spending less money on eating out, like, you kind of, and this is, I've been telling myself to get a mentor and a coach. She's telling myself this. But, what would be just kind of your advice for someone who feels like they're not ready for it or can't afford it?
So, for example, the way that I work with my clients, like let's say, you and I wanted to work together. You're like, I love you, Ari. Yes. And so I have a conversation with you and I give you options. So if you find a coach that, only has one way of working with you, then maybe that's not the right person. But like I have, and this is called a value ladder, pro tip for business. I have different ways of working with people. Like some are high end and they're one-on-one and very intense. Some are workshops. Some are,
Right. It kind of caters to what that person needs.
And you can start small.
You can totally start small. And one thing that, also for me, I know the type of clients that I want. So if you're not the right client for me, I'd be like, hey, why don't you start with my online courses? Get some verbiage, get some like ideas, get some stuff solidified before you and I really like, because I work fast.
Dive into it. Yeah.
And I feel like, to have that one-on-one time, you need to show up for yourself. You need to like kind of be at a level where you can absorb, whatever this person is saying to you as well.
And make sure you're ready to take it on.
And make sure you're ready, because if not, it's a waste. Then you feel like, oh, I wasted my money. And I'm like, you didn't do any of the homework.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of self-work. It's not, and I think that's an important point to make too, is like getting a coach or getting a mentor is not going to be like, oh, perfect. You're going to give me all the tools I need. You're going to give me all the value I need.
And things are going to change overnight with me not changing anything.
Exactly. Like it's definitely like a 50-50, if not like 60-40, you really have to show up and put the work in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And one way that I start with my clients is I have a 7-day challenge, and you go through the daily motions. And I've had clients be like, dude, Ari, you really bleep me up.
Oh, we can curse, just saying.
You really fucked me up.
It's so funny. Every guest is like, can we curse? And we're like, we've been saying fuck for like
for 17 episodes.
yeah.
And that's, it's like an aha moment. They're
Right.
like, wow, like I didn't realize there were so many different things that I could do, or like the potential that I had. And then it like propels them into something
Right.
forward. And you guys are maybe a little young, but there was this cartoon character called Felix the Cat.
I've heard.
Great.
I don't think I've ever seen, but I've heard.
All right, so Felix the Cat had this huge bag that he would carry, and every type of like scenario that he was in, he would open this bag and pull whatever he needed. He's like, oh, I need a ladder, out of the bag.
Okay.
You know, oh, I need whatever. And I feel like once we create that bag with the skills that we learn, with the people that we connect with the mindset that we choose,
Right.
then it's like, dude, you got it.
You have everything you need.
There's stuff that you got to learn.
Right.
You know, in yoga class, like you go to your first class and they're like, go upside down. And you're like, I'm sorry, you want me to do what?
You said
Yeah.
what?
Let's teach you the steps.
Yeah.
Here. You got to learn this skill. You got to get stronger here. You need to like think like, oh, I'm not going to die if I go upside down. That same concept, translate it and throw it into like business mentorship
Right.
and your entrepreneurship, like whether it's anything, like anything.
So good.
Guys, I'm still over here. Like,
Just reformulating her entire life.
mindset. I really am. And
So
like,
good. Like I heard she's just like
I swear to God.
eyes like twitching.
I'm just like, you know, I'm like, that's so Raven when she like has the
a
vision.
future.
And then like, I just come back.
No, it's great.
That's great
so
stuff.
good, yeah. Really good material, good value. Such a good way
love
to
that.
do 2020 and just get into
Yeah.
it.
That's so funny though, because like, and it's funny how you said like, get upside down. Like when I first
You're not gonna die. She's like, oh my god, she's reading my mind.
no. I actually like I started yoga. I think I might have even taken my first class last year, and I fell in love with it the same way. I was, and people have told me my entire life like, oh my god, like you should do yoga because like I'm a little bit more on the abrasive side,
Aggressive.
whatever. And
So was I. That's fine.
yeah, and
She's
so
the whiskey to my water.
yeah, exactly. And so people have always said like, oh, you should you should do yoga. It'd be really good for you. And I was always like, no, I don't need that shit, whatever. Like, you know, I'm too cool for that. But when I tried it, I really did fall in love with it because I was like, one, this is so hard. And I love
A good challenge.
I love a good
Right.
challenge. I'm super competitive, specifically with myself. I've always kind of done like sports that were
What's
like,
your sign?
I'm a Libra.
Oh.
I don't know what my rising and the other thing
That's
are.
okay.
Moon, what is it?
Yeah, your moon and your rising.
My moon, I don't know what those are, but we'll talk about that later.
It's a whole other episode.
Yeah, I fell in love with it, and I remember seeing everyone around me like getting into like the handstands and the headstands, and now I can like sit in a headstand or a handstand for like, 30 plus seconds, which for me is a lot, but
It's rewarding.
it's so rewarding, and I never thought that was something that I would be able to do.
Like, I did this.
Yeah.
Yeah, give yourself a pat on the back. For
Yeah,
sure. I think
exactly.
it's really important. The last thing that you mentioned was something along the lines of like kind of working with coaches and mentors. And I think a big part of being productive and hitting your goals and kind of changing your inner mindset is living intentionally. And I think a lot of people are so caught up in the day-to-day hustle.
Yeah.
And, a lot of our audience work 9 to 5s and are not necessarily freelancers, especially being in a 9 to 5.
Right.
I think it's really easy for people to just get caught up in life and work and paying bills and, going out on the weekends and just trying to have fun and let off a load. And I think that space for being intentional about how you're living your life and
Right.
how you're achieving your goals gets kind of on the back burner or something that people maybe aren't even aware of. So what would you suggest for people to just live more intentionally?
Yeah, for sure. And I love that you said the whole 9 to 5 thing because I'm so in the entrepreneur world where you work 9 to 10 and you work
And on
7 days a
weekends.
week.
Yeah.
You're never not working.
Yeah.
Right, because we're creative and we're impulsive
Yeah.
and like we're a different breed of people.
Yeah.
but the same concepts apply to, and I'm not saying that it's just different, right? Caveat. It's about looking and be like, all right, let me assess what's going on, right? Now, I have X amount of time. I have X amount of things that I want to do. What does that look like? Like, who do I need to be? And this is something my coach taught me, my first coach, Michelle. Who do you need to be? Who do you want to be? Right? Do I want to be somebody that's stuck in the hustle? Or do I want to be somebody that just pays more attention? Right? Do I want to be somebody that just like lives off by flies off by the seat of their pants, whatever you say. I'm terrible with sayings.
We're working on it.
I'm Peruvian. I learned all this stuff later. So how do I, first of all, we have zero control of anything. So forget the whole control thing. That, it's a mystery. So, but you can say, how do I act? How do I observe? And then make decisions, So there's an internal process that happens, whether you're sitting at your desk at your corporate job or whether you're freelancing, you're still going through the same motions. And ask yourself, am I happy?
Right.
Is this that I'm doing make me happy? So if your JOB doesn't make you happy, what things in your life can you start adding so that they fill your happiness bucket?
Right.
And I work with this concept of the 9 environments, which is kind of what you said. I loved it. It's like your financial, your spiritual, your physical body, your physical environment. And being like, let me quantify my life. Just do a review, every 3 months. Be like, what's going on? Ask yourself the hard questions and then say, cool, I'm on track. Or you're like, dude, I'm so way off.
Right.
Okay, so what changes do I want to make? Which goes back to who do I need to be? And then you just kind of get, used to being on this review, improve, redo. Review, improve, redo.
Right.
And I think it's important to mention that we say oh, we need to take the time to, put aside and so I can really do that work. But it's if you're listening to this, you've been given the tools. Actively put aside that time, put yourself in a good place, whether that's in your happy place, you might be at the beach or you might be, somewhere that's serene, and really give yourself that space to answer these questions. Because I know personally, I kind of I push things off. I'm no, I'm too busy to do this, or,
right.
I'm not in the right headspace. It's cultivate that time and that space for yourself to answer those questions.
Yeah.
And I think it's about valuing it as much as you value working and making sure your bills are paid. Value your mental health in the same way.
For sure.
Yeah,
and again, you guys asked me about why do people get a mentor? Why do people get a coach? It's sometimes we're stuck on I don't know what this looks like. I don't know how to make these changes, or
right.
I'm gonna have a baby in 3 months. I've been a dog mom for 20 years.
Yeah.
Baby's different. You can't just see you later, baby. I'm going out. There's food in the fridge. and there was a lot of mental stuff that I had to go through, and my coach has been so supportive, because when I get stuck in this itty bitty shitty conversation, he's is this even real, Ari? Or are you formulating this? Look what you've done. You don't think you can take care of a baby? I'm oh my God, you're so right, Jim. I can do anything. But that's work. And it's not pretty. Sometimes we're oh, I'm enlightened. This is beautiful. No, it was freaking awful. I had to cry a few days. And,
of course.
invest in my coach and get my tools. Lavender oil, whatever,
Pour it on me.
all my tools. I'm I'm Felix the cat. What tool?
Right.
But if you don't have the tools because you've been stuck on I don't know this self-development world, I don't know this empowerment world, then this is why a coach is great. They're here's a tool, here's another tool, here's a meditation tool, here's how to talk to yourself. Cool.
Love that.
And I think that's also huge. I think a lot of people, there's something called a growth mindset and a fixed mindset.
Yes.
And that's something I've been talking with my sister and my mom a lot, because I don't think people are aware when they have a fixed mindset versus having a growth mindset, where you see your flaws or you see things that you can work on. You observe yourself getting angry at certain things and you say, okay, why am I getting angry at this and how can I change it? Whereas if you have a fixed mindset, it's I fucking hate that shit. I've always hated it, and I'm always going to hate it.
And I'm always going to hate it.
And I'm always going to hate it. Like,
yeah.
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't even realize that their mind works in that way. But, you know, if I could encourage anything for our audience, it's really self-reflect. Watch the way you react to things and watch how you tell yourself you're going to proceed with that. Like, are you going to continue to hate that? Are you going to continue to let yourself lash out in that way? And just realize that everything is changeable, and you can work on everything and evolve. And I think having a growth mindset is so important.
Like, is that serving you? Like,
is that serving you?
Is getting angry serving you?
Right.
Is it serving the person you're lashing out at? Like, sometimes, you know, we live in Miami. Like, driving in Miami can be like
we always talk about
an experience.
I was literally just going to say this.
Right. So, like, is me yelling at the guy in front of me who cut me off? He can't hear me.
Right, exactly.
So I'm yelling at myself in the car, getting all angry. Like, is that serving my, like, energetic state, my cellular system? Hell no.
And I say this all the time. Like, life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react to it. And, like, imagine if you just, like, didn't get upset at the little little life nuances. Like, how much your just overall mood would improve. It's crazy.
Yeah, I talk with my sister about this a lot because she is kind of like, you know, one of those people who's like a ticking time bomb. Like, one thing will set her off. And I'm like, Noelle, you don't have to. Once you realize you're in control of your reactions, you don't have to let yourself get upset. And also, I think it's the production in me to understand, like, is you getting upset even effective? Is it even changing the situation?
Yeah, if you're gonna be fucking pissed, then, like, get shit done, you know? Like, make something happen.
Me being pissed and so angry at the situation is gonna make it better. Power to you, let's do it. Let's get angry at the world, but it's
Grab
not.
the torches.
It's not. So it's like, really reflect and be like, is this even making the situation better, or am I literally just torturing myself?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And for our listeners out there, do you have any tips or tricks on healthy ways that you, like, stay mindful in your day-to-day, or, you know, tips on, like, meditating or anything like that?
A lot.
All of
them. I have a whole book. Funny that you ask.
First, carve the time.
Yeah.
Just make the time.
Crucial.
Start with 5 minutes. That's it. Like, I meditated for 5 minutes this morning because that's literally, I woke up late and I was like, go. It doesn't have to be a, like, Zen garden that you step into. Like, literally, I meditated on the couch with, like, my 2 dogs lying on top of me.
Right.
Take it when you can, right? So find the time, make check that out, the decision. I'm going to meditate, and then do it. Because meditation is kind of like a catapult into a lot of other things that are health related, mindfulness related. So start with that. Carve out the time, make the decision. And then, like, I'm a big fan of, like, my kind of, like, 3-step process. So I always use one of my essential oils. Like, I have my meditation oil, and then I'm like, boom, apply, take a big smell, because that's going to change my, like, DNA, literally. Then I go into, like, whatever meditation I'm doing, if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. I do a little breathing practice, just deep diaphragmatic breathing. So get out of your chest, go down into your belly. That's going to affect your pelvic floor. Like, it has so many benefits. So that's pretty much it. And then I move once a day. Like, conscious moving, not just, like, getting out of my chair, going to, you know, the bathroom and coming back. Like,
walking to the fridge and back.
Right, no. But, like, move your body in a way that, like, you sweat a little bit.
Okay.
Just figure it out. Whatever rocks your boat. It can be yoga. It can be doing 20 push-ups. It could be, like, I jump in my pool and I run in my pool sometimes. Like, just find something that makes you feel good.
Gets your heart beating a little bit.
Yeah.
Makes you feel like you're alive in there.
Right. Like, your car.
Right.
And if you don't take your car to, like, get the oil change and, like, wash it, and you know what I mean? Like, the machine's got to work.
Crusty, rusty, dusty.
You know what's up. So, like, you know, mind, body, spirit. Do something every day that ticks those 3 boxes. And, you know, again, if, like, you're kind of stuck and you're like, I don't know what to do, like, find somebody who can teach you. Right? Like, I listen to, like, I have my own meditation techniques, but sometimes I listen to my, like, app. And I'm like, somebody guide me. Like, you're a pro. Like, guide me. Like,
And what apps do you use?
I use Insight Timer. I use Glow. I have some recordings from some of my teachers. So it's like, again, I open up my toolbox and I'm like, who do I want to listen to today?
Right.
Is it Rod Stryker, or is it, the Dalai Lama? Is it Deepak Chopra? Like, we live in an era where, like, everything is instant. Like, go on YouTube.
Yeah.
Find a Deepak Chopra on Facebook. Like, I get alerts. Like, here, we're going to do this practice. I'm like, great, let's hang out with Deepak for a little bit. Like, how lucky are we?
So cool. Truly. We preach that all the time. It's like we live in such a blessed time where you can teach yourself anything. Yeah. You can be assisted in life in so many ways. Like,
there's knowledge at our fingertips.
So thankful and grateful.
Think 20 years ago, like, that shit did not exist. It was like a process. You're like, oh my god. So check your 3 boxes. Like, did I do something good for my mind today? Check. Did I do something good for my body today? Check. Did I do something that fills my spirit? Check.
Love that.
Yep. Noted. Writing notes over here. Okay, cool. You own the Yoga Expo, which takes place at the Fort Lauderdale Convention Center. And how many years has it been going on now?
This is our 5th year.
Okay.
In 2020.
Nice.
And we had it the 1st of January, the 11th of January of 2020. So it was like 1/1/1/2020. I was like, numerology.
Yes, numbers. I like that.
And it's a once-a-year event. We also have one in California. I run the Florida one with Expansion Thoughts. And so it's basically a day where you can have access to 50, 60, 70 plus teachers, classes all day long. So if you're new, you can take the beginners class, you can take the meditation class, the sound bath class. We also have lectures.
Sound bath.
So tons of lectures by, people who are professionals in their industry.
Cool.
And then we have an amazing marketplace, so you can go and look at brands, like a lot of local brands.
Yeah.
That are really trying to, position themselves out there. Clothing, yoga mats, accessories, like the whole gamut.
You name it.
And it's the largest indoor show, because there's a lot of yoga, festivals that are outdoors. And as much as I love an outdoor show, it gets hot in Florida.
Yeah, you can't.
And you're like in the sun all day long. So this is indoors at this beautiful
AC.
place. Yeah. And, there's windows that are so big that you feel like you're outdoors. So it's been a really beautiful experience. And the energy that we create at that show is like bumping. So
so cool. I can only imagine. I feel like an entire ballroom of people who are just on a higher frequency is like
unreal.
You don't get to experience that often.
No, it's really special. I'm really lucky that I decided to embark on.
So cool.
And we love that for you as well.
And especially to be not only embark, but to be a leader.
Right.
To be leading that community and to be, be on the front line of helping people make those connections and experience that.
Paving that road.
Feeling. That must be so rewarding.
I see, some teachers that have like 80 people in their classrooms, and I'm just like, this is such great exposure for you. I'm so happy for you. Like, that I can provide that opportunity. So it's
cool.
Yeah, it fills all my boxes.
Yay.
I love that. And so with owning this expo and, putting on this entire show, how do you find that you stay balanced? Between the
business side
and also it's your passion. Right. So it's like kind of how do you make that separation, but also, maintain your passion for it?
Yeah. I'm not like an alien. Like, it stresses me out, right? Like,
you're human.
I'm human.
Right.
So there's moments where, yes, there's a lot of stress, because as my passion, I want to make sure that the attendees are like so taken care of, and like that the staff that I choose and the people that are teaching the classes are, I don't handpick them, but like, I'm just like, please give what I,
what you're envisioning,
my like expectations of a good experience for them. And I know that I can't make everybody happy. Like, that was my first year. I was like, I need to make everyone happy. And then I was like, really? Like, I'm not happy sometimes. Like, that's cool. So I also understood that sometimes you gotta let shit go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Whatever, or let it snow, whatever that song is. But it was really about, like, how do I manifest the best experience that I could possibly do, and being like, this was the best I did.
Yeah.
And thank you. Thank you for participating. And if you loved it, like, that fills my heart. And if you didn't love it, like, there's always a next time that you're going to experience something that you love. And if you're just an angry person, like, that's your problem.
Yeah, you can't help you there.
I can't help you there.
You also can't take it personally, you know?
Not a magician.
No. And this is the road of, like, of being a leader. Sometimes you feel lonely because you're like, there's just, this is all I can do.
Right.
You know, and some people, like, I give you the high five, and some people want to, like, take the rug out underneath you, and you got to be okay with it.
Right.
And just roll through life.
And just know that you've done your best. You've shown up for yourself, and if you know that and have confidence in that, you're not going to, we say this too about the podcast, is like, we're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine.
Right.
You know, as long as we stand by what we say and how we live, and we truly stand by that and are genuinely, authentically us and not trying to be anything we're not, and doing our best, that's something that we're proud of. That's a win for us.
And balance, like, it's not always balanced, right? Like, there's times you got to run, there's times you get to chill. So, like, the week before the show, like, I'm a hot mess. But then I go get a massage, I, like, hang out, you know, like, I go get my acupuncture. Like, I do the things to create
that balance.
The yin and the yang.
Sometimes
the whiskey
it's
and the water.
The whiskey and the water.
Sometimes it's water.
Yeah, last year, you know, I went out for drinks. Also, this year, I'm pregnant.
This year,
not doing
water.
That. This year, more water. Like, I'm getting acupuncture on Monday.
Yeah,
love
good. That. Cool. Well, we're excited. I think we're going to try to stop by, too. It's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, this will air right after.
That's okay.
But I'd love for our South Florida community to get involved, check it out. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Let's hop into our deep dive. So, our first question on our deep dive is, what's your why?
My why. This is a beautiful question.
Yeah. I have a feeling that we don't really need to do so much explaining of what that means to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, my why is that I want to see the world in a, like, better light. Right? I want to see people happier. I want to see people more helpful. I want to see people more mindful of their decisions, of what they eat, what they do. So if I can help, like, whether it's by going to my yoga class or my meditation class, or whether it's me empowering another holistic, you know, entrepreneur, then I know, like, I'm good. I'm leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So cool. All right. Second question is, and by the way, we ask this to every guest, and it's always really interesting hearing the answers because the range of guests we have are, you know, for influencers. We just had our friend Max, who's an activist, so it's always really interesting hearing the different answers. The second question is, what's your favorite quote, and what does it mean to you?
Wow.
And you can take a second, too, because on the spot, it's hard for me to think of things.
I'm, like, the worst with quotes.
I know. It's okay. Or not, it doesn't have to be quote. It could be a mantra or just something you live by.
I mean, honestly, like, I like to go to Gandhi, like, be the change you want to see in the world. So if it starts with me, then I am living in my truth. I'm acting in my truth, and I'll be a reflection for others to be in their truth. So go for Gandhi.
Love.
Yeah.
Live your truth.
Yeah.
All right. And our third question is, and this is a bit of a doozy.
Take a deep breath.
Okay. What do you think separates successful people from those who give up, fail, or never get started on their dream?
I mean, I think the whole podcast was kind of all this question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if you had to sum it up.
Yeah. It's those who commit to their vision, right? Because if you give up, then you're like, you just quit. The road to any sort of goal or any sort of result means being persistent and consistent. And, like, for example, I want to make $1 million or I want to do a handstand. All right, we're going to go both gamuts. If I stop doing the work for the handstand, if I don't do the push-ups, if I don't strengthen my core, I was in acrobatics, you know, obviously acro yoga. So if I don't do all these things that I know will get me to the handstand, if I didn't, you know, hold it against the wall, like, if I just quit because I was like, this is so hard, or like, I can't do this, then you're never going to get the handstand. Like, let's be real. I want to make $1 million. Okay, well, who do I need to be? What are the decisions I need to make? Do I need to give up watching TV? What are those things that I want to release in order to receive to get there. So successful people also, in my experience, tend to make decisions quickly, right? They don't just like dilly-dally. And I'm not saying you have to be, a speeding bullet, but
it's the decision, action, follow-up.
It's the decision, yeah. And like in my coaching, I work with what I call the 4 A's, and it's assess, align, right? Like, where am I at? Like, what's my current culture? What's my current self? Am I aligned to my values, right, that are non-negotiable? Am I taking action daily? And who's holding me accountable? Like, sometimes holding yourself accountable doesn't work.
Isn't enough.
Oh, yeah. We're each other accountability partners. Her more so than me. But, like, I tell her, like, hey, I'm reading this book this month. And she's messaging me, like, every 5 days, like, hey, you reading? You doing this? You doing that? And so it's huge.
So I honestly, that little formula can be what differentiates those that are, like, hitting their goals, hitting their marks, versus the ones that are just wishing. On this, like, rinse and repeat cycle, like, getting nowhere.
Yeah. And wishing year after year that they were somewhere.
Day,
yeah.
Right? Well, that day could be tomorrow.
If you take action.
and I think it's so funny because a lot of people have been like, well, I'm manifesting this and, I'm manifesting, $1 million this year, whatever it may be. I've seen a lot of, like, tweets and memes going around, but it's like, listen, manifesting
without action
doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It goes hand in hand.
Yeah, and I feel like that just needs to be said.
I had a friend of mine who said something like that was just so magical. She's like, you can't pay your bills with manifesting glitter. I was like, you're so right.
Yeah, exactly. You really can't. You gotta show up. You gotta put the work in. And it's not always easy and it's not pretty, but it's what's gonna get you there.
Blood, sweat, and tears, baby.
One last thing. You reminded me of an affirmation that I forgot about, but I had in my journal for 2019 in January when I wanted to have a miracle morning and a morning practice every day, and a part of that was affirmations, and one of them was, we don't get what we want, we get what we're committed to. So I read that the other day in the car again. I had forgotten about it, and I was like, oh, that's good.
That shit slaps.
I gotta remind myself of that because it's so true. It's like we could want all these things, but if you're not committed to it, nothing's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
This is true.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Yay. Awesome. Okay, cool. We had an amazing conversation. Yeah. Thank you so much for spending your time and energy with us. For sure. This is so valuable. And if people want to know more about you, go ahead and plug your website, your Instagram, any social media.
And you also mentioned that you do some, like, group classes or group teachings that people can find. I'd love for people to, like, know where that they can find those too.
Yeah, for sure. So locally in South Florida, I teach at Vizcaya Museum.
Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. We have a, like, nice little wellness program. So once a month. That's currently all that I'm doing. Physically, just because I'm going to have this baby. And then my website is Busy Yogi, BIZZY, and then yogi, so 2 Ys.com. And you can find out there about, like, my online programs, how to, contact me about the essential oils, like the whole lifestyle kind of reset, reboot, improve. And then social media is ari.busyyogi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All the things.
Wonderful.
And we'll make sure to tag you on everything so people make people's lives easier.
Just click, go.
Cool. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, girls. It was super fun.
Yes. If you guys like this episode, please take a screenshot, share it on your story, tag us that you're listening. We repost everything.
Let Ari know that you loved her conversation.
Yeah, give her some love, and we hope you guys have a great week, and make sure you're writing all this stuff down and taking mental notes and killing 2020. Bye guys, have a good week.
Bye.